know how I feel. You know how I feel. Ooh, you know how I feel. 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 You know how I feel.
4, 5. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay. All right, sweet. Hey, everybody. Okay, cool. We're not too bad tonight. Okay, so I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday, and Tara and I are both getting back from. Well, we were helping her daughter house sitting for her daughter, and we got to spend the weekend in Asheville, which is one of the cooler cities in North Carolina down here. It's not my favorite, but it's really cool. My favorite's Chapel Hill, of course, or Carborough. But anyway, I'm just being funny. But we got to spend there, so we kind of used that as a vacation. And then, as I've been telling you guys, my summer school started today as part of this thing that I might be trying out. And I don't really, I'm not really comfortable like telling everybody what I'm trying out, just because it might suck for me and it might be something that I don't want to do. So I just want to kind of, keep it, sort of personal. But I am excited about it. It started today too. So we just got back and then and then she taught tonight. So it's kind of a perfect night for me anyway for teaching balance. And this was a request. A lot of times when people make requests, they wind up not seeing it when it's fulfilled, but this was a request that I made that someone made last week, and to talk about balance. It's been about 3 months. The last time I taught a balance class was a Myth and Flow class about Saza, and so if you like balance, I have done a few of them now, and so it might be worth you make a little playlist or just skip around if you want. I think if you just search blind flow in my videos, you'll probably find a lot of them. So that's right. Yeah, the first secret is magnets. You have to have magnets installed. Oh, hey Sheila. So that's funny. Anyway, we're going to be working with balance tonight, which is it is athletic, but it's definitely not cardio. I don't think anybody would say it was cardio. And kind of in a funny personal story, I got so into balance. It was like, like like some like hyper addictive drug for me for a while. And I got so into it that I wasn't really like getting my heart rate up as much anymore. My arms were getting filled out, but I wasn't getting my cardio up. And so that's when I started, actually I bought an elliptical. And what was so funny is I had been talking shit about ellipticals for so long, and then I wound up getting one. And so my movement practice over the years has pretty much been hooping and the elliptical, and then when I was really into ecstatic dance, it was definitely ecstatic dance. But I got really deep into balance, and I really, really love balance. And so I don't want to waste too much time here, or not waste it, but I don't want to fill up too much time because I want to jump into it. It's been the most requested thing for me to ever when I was on the road. People wanted, a day worth of balance work. But here's sort of why I don't do that. I don't do it on the road because your arms are actually going to get tired working on this tonight. It's an unusual way to hold something, especially if you do it like I do it on the back of the hand, and you will get tired, even though your hoop, barely weighs, I don't even know if it weighs a pound, right? But it will feel like it weighs 15 pounds by the end of the class. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to be checking in with Tara, and I'll be checking in with you guys to see if your arms are getting too tired, and maybe we'll throw in some like rolling or some other stuff. But this will not be a core hooping class tonight, and it will be more or less pretty mellow. Now, if you've seen a tech class that I teach before without Myth, the music is not quite as important to me because most of the time I'm talking over it but I do like to have it. So tonight we're going to be listening to a mix of things on of SoundCloud and YouTube. Actually, that just reminded me I need to fix something. But of SoundCloud and YouTube. And there we go. Perfect. Let me fix this one while I'm here. I know this is awkward, guys, but this way you'll be able to know. So we're going to listen to a little bit of SoundCloud, and then also a little bit of my iTunes. Hopefully. Okay, hey Amber. Okay, so last thing I want to say, oh cool, only 4 minutes of talking, that's not bad for me. The last thing I want to say is last week or on Thursday, I announced that I thought I had figured out how to do high def recordings again. It turns out I didn't. So okay, it's already doing it. Yeah. All right. Okay. As I was describing that it might start to lock up, it started locking up. So cool. All right, so I have not figured out how to record. So for those of you that are watching a replay, I'm sorry that the recordings are, not high definition level. But I am trying to figure it out. I made some changes that made certain production elements better, but being able to record and stream at the same time is freaking out my computer right now. So I'll try to figure out a better way to handle that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And yeah, I like this track. Okay, this is a little bit faster. Actually, maybe we'll start with a little bit of silent sway or silent movement, and just for a moment, and then we'll move into some music. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Amber. I guess you probably meant you were so awesome, y'all. All right. Cool. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about balance tonight. And I don't like to tell people how to sway, but what I do want to do is make sure that my scene switcher's on. Okay. Oh, I see. There we go. All right. Since we are going to be talking about balance tonight, what I want you to, before I set you free off into your sway, audible breath in. I want you to think about balance of breath. And I want you to think about balance, or I invite you to think about a balance of awareness and focus. A balance of your left and your right side of your body. Balance of your weight forward and backward. Oh, that's red. But before we balance the hoop tonight, we're going to try and tune ourselves into this idea of movement and rhythmic balance. Oh, that's not the song I meant to say. Okay. Audible breath in. Each of us has our own obstacles that we encounter when we try to learn something, and because I encountered it, it doesn't mean that you will. But since I have encountered one obstacle in my balance, I want to share it with you to help you avoid it. And without realizing it, I was going about trying to learn balance by understanding balance as this state, as this place, as this thing that was there or not there. And that if I could just get my hand to the right place every time, I would achieve balance. But after trying and learning, I realized that I was trying to make my hand still when in fact it needed to be really alive with movement. I realized that what makes my hand look still when I'm balancing are thousands of micro movements. There are thousands of reactions. And so when we achieve balance with the hoop, it's a living balance, meaning it requires energy, as all living things do. And so when you're pushing or when you're holding the hoop and you're trying to balance it, you are putting energy into it. Physics. And as that's happening, it's a living exchange. To really open that channel, it's good to activate the whole body, even though we'll be using our arms and hands tonight to activate the legs. It doesn't make sense, but balance is so much more sure when your feet are engaged with it. Audible breath in. Now, I've been in a car. We drove 3.5 hours to get home. And so big, windmilly, backstrokey movements feel good to me right now. Sometimes when you're feeling stiff or uninspired or both, it's good to think about everything you've done that day and then move in the exact opposite way. Audible breath in. I also invite you to wake up the senses of your hands. Now we're going to be using the back of our hands, or I am. And so I'm bringing the backs of my hands together, or rubbing, my shoulder with the back of my hand. I'm like waking it up. Like if I was doing finger stretches to play a violin. Audible breath in. Okay, sweet. That was a fun sway. Okay, let's see what we got here. There we go. All right, good deal. Okay. All right, so now we're going to start with some balance. And I want to go ahead and jump in it. A lot of times, some of the other balance classes, we've done some core hooping or whatever. I will say this, that it is just a fact that the more warmed up you get, the better you are at balancing. Okay? Actually, let's do one little exercise. I was doing this the other night, and this is a good warm-up. Now, if you've got weak shoulders or something like that, don't do this. But what you're going to do is, I'm going to hold the hoop. Oh, let me go ahead and put it. All right. So I'm going to hold the hoop in what I call a perch. That's just my own slang for it. I don't know what it's really called. And I'm going to hold the hoop out here. And for a while, I'm going to try to keep my arm as still as I can and get as much movement as I can from my legs. Does that make sense? I'll show you the other angle. This is sort of how you can see that I'm kind of getting some side to side. No, don't worry, this isn't going to be the whole class. This is just a warm-up. And then you can toss it to the other hand, or you can just place the other hand in, whatever. And then we're going to grab the same. Okay, now this may not be for everybody. I don't want to, this is just a way to warm up. Of course, you can drift off. Tara could be doing something else if she wanted to. This is just an idea. But what I like to do, and I'm going to loosen up and say I can move my arm a little bit, right? But I'm hoping that you'll feel the different connection, right? See, this, I'm not really moving my hand. Oh, good. That's a good time for all those angles. Right, and then I go to the other side. And then this is where it gets weird for me, is when I discovered that I had a second current, of course. I just never thought about it. And I couldn't believe how awkward it felt to do the same thing just in the other current. Oh, I see. Okay, and then here's the part that I think can be really good for warming up. This may not be for everybody. It'll feel a lot faster than it actually looks. But what I was doing is I give myself a little bit of movement, and then I'm gonna try to get the hoop as fast as I can. And then I'll slow it down, kind of like a sprint, right? And then we'll move to the other hand, right? You wouldn't do a whole day of sprints, right? So we're just gonna do a couple of these. I'm gonna go really fast. Really fast. It's hard for me to breathe. And then I'll relax out of that, right? And then I'll reverse it. Shake off a little bit if you need to, whatever. I reverse it. And then I'm going to do one more of these sprints, right? Wow. Not that fast. All right. Oh, okay. Well, I know what I need to work on tomorrow. And then we'll go fast again in the other one. You might be able to hear your hoop. I can hear mine. Okay. All right. Actually, let's just flow for about one more minute into rolling right now. I just really want to get your feet. This is a weave. This is a reverse weave. Uh-oh. Oh, that's what's wrong. Oh, okay. Makes sense. Now, one thing that I want you to try here is to use as little grip as you can right now, right? When we're doing these weaves, like, watch, this is just me using one finger. Right? It's not like I'm a ninja. It's super easy. We just use all 5 of them for some reason, but we don't really have to. And then you can go ahead and start to wake up the back side of this hand, right? As it rolls. I'm no longer on my forearm, I'm on my hand now. Just rolling across. All right. All right. Now let's get to the good stuff here. And yep. There we go. Okay, so there's loads of different types of balances, or at least a few that I can think of. So we're going to start with what I think is one of the basic ones. And we're going to do a 2-point, because there's 2 points of contact. We're going to do a 2-point because there's 2 points of contact. We're going to balance the hoop right in front of us. And there's 2 different ways that we can go into this, okay? One way is, and what I recommend for you, is because it's badass just from the moment go, right? Like, even if you get balance, it's badass just to do this. You're gonna swing the hoop out and drop the bottom of the hoop, and that's gonna let the hands get up under it. So think of like picnic blanket type thing, you know, or beach. I don't know, we're from the South, so if you've ever tried to lay a towel down at the beach without some sand everywhere, you know, it's like a super quick picnic blanket type move. We call it the door knockover, but it doesn't really make sense because doors don't really knock like that. And so anyway, once I send it up into that balance, this is when the class really starts tonight, right? So I send it up into the balance. And now this is where I want to remind you that it's a living balance, right? Like, and I can't stress this enough, and I know that sounds sort of hippie, but the thing is that you're not going to be still. You want to make it look like it's still. You want to make it look like you're in complete control. But what's happening is that you're making so many of the small right movements that nobody can tell, right? Okay, so here we are. I'm swinging the hoop up and out. Now, when I'm going to do a balance, and we're going to get into some more advanced stuff, but when I do a balance, I want to find a point on the hoop visually and lock into that point and just hold it, right? Like just imagining that my gaze comes out and grips the hoop. And so when I'm doing this move here, it can be really tempting to look at your hands while you do it. But instead, look down there. Look at that point, right? Because that point is what you're going to be focusing on. And it might sound weird, but the time that it takes your gaze to go from here to balance is longer than if you're just staring at the point, okay? So I'm here. Now, I am doing this on the backs of my hands, right? Now, this is a HoopPath thing. I just think it looks cool. I think it looks badass. I like doing it. You can be just as good at balance, right? If you are using, the palms or whatever you feel comfortable in, right? Like, so if you have any kind of reason that you don't want to use the back of the hands, you don't have to. Now, I said that there were 2 ways to get into this move. This is the other way, and I've actually had less success with this way, even though it's the sort of more direct. I'm just going to roll my hands out. Right now, they're pinky to pinky. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, they're pinky to pinky. I'm choked in like maybe 8 or 10 inches here, and then I'm going to just roll out, right? That's me not looking. Roll out. Now, the benefit of this is that I can go ahead and focus on the point I'm staring at. I don't have to swing anything. So because of that, sometimes it's easier for people to learn it this way, right? So I'm just staring at it, just gonna roll my hands over.
Just meet me in the middle with your half-smoked cigarette. I'll only be here for a little. What you don't know, can't forget.
Paris having success over there. Nice. I couldn't get it past you. All right.
I'll only be here for a little. What you don't know, you can't forget.
Oh, okay. I'm not. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about some different balances. Actually, a couple more things while we practice these balances. And this is sort of like an intermediate to advanced advice as well, right? But what happens for a lot of people is you'll learn a balance. It's kind of like your training wheels. Like one position will be your balance, right? And that position for some people, like when they're learning it, they like to do this kind of like head bang the hoop back into position. But what this really is, what I see that their hands are just really low, okay? That's totally cool. But that's one way to balance the hoop. And then the higher I bring my hands, it feels totally different, right? And so what happens for some people is they struggle to learn the hoop at one height of their hands, right? Instead of trying a bunch of different stuff. So if you struggle, like if you are one of these people that always wants to do it up here, then you might want to bring it down and just see if that changes things, right? Or if you've been really struggling and you always keep it down here, you know, maybe push up into the balance. Yeah, okay. So Tara said for her, bringing it closer to her body was helping her find the balance. Now, I do want to include some intermediate and advanced stuff for so those of you that already have balance. One good skill to work on if you haven't already is twisting the hoop on an axle, right? And so I'm up here, and it just sort of firms up your grip a little bit. I don't know if you can, maybe if I went to my, let's see if this works. Okay, yeah. So this kind of, oops. Let me find the balance again. All right, so this kind of movement here, that back and forth. Because that leads to like the full, axle spin thingies. Okay. So let's try maybe a minute of some more of this type of balance. You can fire questions away if you've got them, guys. I know I've said it like 100 times tonight, but push into the hoop as you balance it. Push into the hoop. You're not a shelf, right? You're not a shelf. And then I'll show one more related move to this, since this is a balance fiesta tonight. I've shown you this move before too, but this would be for those of you that want to take, your balance, like, you really dig it and you want to get really good at it. It's a difficult circuit to pull off, and I've showed you guys this before. And it doesn't necessarily look cool, but it's a way to stay in flow and learn that swing motion constantly. But what I do is I'm going to swing the hoop back behind me this way to the side. Actually, I should show you here. I'm going to sort of swing it back to me here. Actually, I'll start it off up here. Okay, so I'm up here in the hoop. I'm going to let it fall and then come back up. And then I'm going to let it fall and then come back up. And then fall. And then fall. You see how I'm kind of olaying it? Getting out of the way. I don't know if you guys are making me nervous, but I don't have my balance game on my balance game night. There we go. And what I think is good about this, it's kind of like when you practice breaks and paddles by doing a bunch of them in a row. Like, this circuits kind of help you break through your psychology of it and just learn the damn thing. And a lot of this, hooping, the problem with hooping, or the good thing about it, is that if you never practice it, you're kind of limited to how far you can get with it. It just requires the doing. And that doing can be really fun and doesn't have to feel hard. Okay, all right. So nobody is commenting, so either no one's here, or you guys are trying this out, or the stream is down. But we're going to go ahead and just imagine that everything is good. Fire away if you have any questions. Sure. I just read that quote about, or that skateboard. I got on skateboard for the first time in like 30 years this weekend. Low grade skating. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about different types. Oh, sweet, Alex, thank you. Different types of balances, or a different type of balance. And this one, honestly, some of the terms that I came up with don't make sense, but this one was called bow. This position was called bow, but this is a bow balance because it runs along this arm, but that doesn't really make sense, but that's just how what I called it. So a bow balance is when the hoop is out in front of you. I'll show you. Sweet. If the hoop is out in front like this. Oh, sweet, Dorothy, good. Okay, so this would be a single point bow balance, right? And then this would be a 2-point bow balance. And I learned this by doing a 2-point, but when I went around and started teaching, a lot of people got the single point before they ever got the 2. Oh, sweet, Kelly. I know you're live with us. That's awesome. Okay, so if I wanted to do a 2-point balance, if I wanted to come back into it without like any scariness, if I'm in 2-point inside-outside wall here, I can just pull it back, let this hand in front just kind of crawl up under the hoop, and I can move into this 2-point balance. Okay, so I'm here, boom. And then the thing is that if something's touching the hoop, or point-wise, you want to balance that weight between those things. So if I am in 2-point, right, like if I'm here and I'm doing a 2-point balance, I want to feel, maybe not equal, but I want to feel some pressure on both hands, right? I don't want one hand to just sort of barely be there, just sort of tapping their arm every now and then. I want it to be helping hold the weight of the hoop, right? And this 2-point bow balance can be, flipped like I just did. I'm here, and I gotta let the hoop kind of pivot on top of the backs of my hands like a contact ball or something. Now I'm walking that, which is a little bit harder, but you can just try these without the walk and just go back and forth. Now, here's the deal. Tonight we're taking a bus tour to being better at balancing. And so that we're going to stop at certain parts that for you might not want to get out of the bus for that city. You might want to just sort of stay in the bus for that little town and stay with the vibe that you had going on. So, I'm imagining if this was a workshop, people would start to peel off and start to go into whatever they're really feeling with balance. But I'm going to keep going. If I wanted to do single point bow balance, what I usually recommend to people, and you can do this in 2.2, but I'll show you the close-up cam. Perfect. Oh, my close-up cams didn't work. Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. I'll be able to show you this in the. Okay. All right. So I'll be able to show you this anyway. So my hands, you see how we have these sort of channels here, especially if I'm thinned out like that. I'm going to pick any channel there. I'll probably just use these first two. And that's just going to be a crease for my hoop to sit in, right? That I'm not going to squeeze or anything. I'm just going to let the hoop sit there, right? Right? So I'm here. And the reason that some people get this, putting the hoop here on the bow balance instead of putting it all the way back on the hand, is because your hands, your fingers are just so dexterous, right? Like that they can make super adjustments super fast. Like right now, I can kind of been doing this forever, but I can kind of feel my first finger slowly sort of pushing diagonally back towards the back of my hand with the hoop at times. And this is a living balance again. I'm not trying to just, sit and look cool, right? Now for the bow balance, I always look across the hoop. right? I'm always looking across it. This makes me look I might cross my eyes when I hoop anyway. That's why I always wear glasses. But it's really bad. So I like to look across the hoop there. It's more comfortable for me to see it. And I'm still doing those same tricks, right? Like I'm still gripping the hoop with my vision, really holding in. I've joked about it, but I kind of mean it. Like if you have ADHD, hooping can help, it can help you train some of that focus that, that makeup focus that we weren't born with. And then what I recommend is if your right arm gets tired, try your left. It has happened for me. It may be some people watching right now where they were actually better at their non-dominant hand at balance. Maybe they were focusing a little bit more or whatever. Now I'm imagining we're getting to the point where your arms are starting to get a little tired, but we're gonna soldier through. Now, ultimately, you want to think of your hand as being your whole body, but your hand especially being a complete surface where you can control the hoop and balance no matter where it is, right? So you can, once you get it sort of in control at the fingers, and you don't have to wait for anything, but like if I'm in control of the fingers, I can roll it back to the back of my hand now, right? It's more about the weight, right? Like a heavy contact ball is easier to learn than a light one, apparently. So the weight can help, right? Of course, I guess it probably wouldn't matter for you, man, but like it can make you more tired the bigger the hoop, All right, so I'm on the back of my hand now. And I definitely, I have control there. And that's something I wanted to say at the beginning. Balance comes and goes. You'll have days where you feel like you have been touched by the goddess of flow because you feel like you could just do anything you wanted to with balance, right? I love those days. But then you have some days, it's like when you're, a major league pitcher, you throw bad games every now and then, and some days you just don't have it. Now, I'm going to keep going, right? And you can stay on the bus, or you can get out of every little stop that I go to if you want to. So especially for more advanced people, or not advanced people, but people that have been doing balance and are good at it. I recommend going to getting on the forearm. And again, we don't have to do these in sequence or anything, but I recommend getting it on the forearm and just trying that balance. Like what happened for me when I was trying this balance was I ended up kind of doing a funky sort of single hand 2-point thing here. Which was trippy. But this is on my forearm now. Now, if you're really struggling, I think you should grip and ungrip the hoop. But if you start to get it even a little bit, I really recommend trying a point hand or something. So like if I'm trying to balance it on this arm, if it starts to go somewhere I don't want it to go, I'm gonna try to bring in my other hand. I can bring it in as a 2-point, counter wall thing. But instead of like this, you see what I mean? Because the thing is that you need your body, it needs the experience of it thinking the hoop's falling. Because that's teaching it how to move. You're not fast enough with your thoughts to tell it what to do. It has to sort of learn that. This is 2-point on the forearms. This is sort of heading off into a different direction, but this just occurred to me, and for some people this has really helped them, so I just want to make sure I say it. some people, like once you have some flow, some balance, or at least a little bit, or you want to bring it in, you want to bring it into your flow without like just stopping and just staring at the hoop. So there's a couple of different ways that you can get the hoop into a balance that are kind of cool. And for some people, they really help. And one of those is to roll into the balance. So I'm rolling the hoop on my hand. I'm going to roll it towards whatever hand is going to do it, right? And I'm just going to roll it into that hand, right? If I go too much, it's going to turn into a body roll, right? Boom. But if I just roll it just a little bit and push up, right? But don't try to slow the hoop up. Let your hand do it. The other thing that's cool, and one of the reasons that you want to develop the back of the hand and the forearm and all that, is so that you don't mentally freak out, right? Like when the hoop hits one of those surfaces, like it's been there before, you know about it. If anyone's taking a break and can tell me if the quality has been good tonight, let me know. Like if there's been a lot of hitches and stuff like that, let me know. Okay, and let's see, how much time do we have left? Well, this is pretty good. How are your arms feeling? Oh, really? Okay. Nice. Actually, that just reminded me of something. This is another tip that seems to help some people. Okay, good. Okay, so this is another tip that can really help people. Everybody's got a different body, right? Like, we all have different things. When I'm doing 2-point, when I've told you guys about it, I always recommend, just because it's what works for me, to have bent elbows, right? You see that? Now watch, like if I push all the way out, do you see how I've kind of closed the window of movement on my hands a little bit? Do you see that? Like look at this, right? Like right now I feel like I got more going on there. And so and that might be, maybe I'm completely wrong, but so when I'm doing balances, I try to remind myself, wherever I'm doing a single point or 2-point, to keep my arms somewhat bent, right? Do you see how they're bent? Now maybe they're not bent as much as they were, but I'll show you. So instead of this, right, where I can't even really make contact, I'm bending them, right? It's the same thing with single point, right? Like instead of pushing it all the way out here, where I'm limiting my quick motion, right? I'm gonna put a break in my elbow there. Now that might not work for you, right? And so some of these, sometimes you just have to like, discard some of the advice because, we all got here in different routes. Okay, so Tara says that is called softening in your elbows. So soften. Okay, softening, I like that. All right, so you guys can stay with me, you can balance whatever you want to, but I know we're wearing each other's arms out, but I think we have to talk about some hand walking here. Now, there are 2 kinds of ways to hand walk the hoop in a balance. One of them I used to try to work on, and I'm just not that good at it, but I'll show you because I'm not afraid to look like a moron, but like this is hand walking in the front when we're in this what we call the sun plane in HoopPath, but that's hand walking in the front. I'm not that good at it. I should probably get back and practice it. I actually forgot about it until just now. But that is a type of hand walking, right? I used to be able to reverse it, but I don't know. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so that's one type if you want to try that. The same advice goes where you're really supposed to just look at your focal point and not look. The hard part for me is you really have to remember your hands have to do kind of like this to tilt the hoop into the next one, so it's a little bit tricky. But the one that I like to do more, I think has more options for you, is the more bow position. And so we've done this one before. This is when you can use your hands to protect your face, right? And you're gonna roll the hoop. I'm rolling the hoop here, and I'm gonna step into its path, but with my hand in front, right? Then when my hand makes contact, it's going to roll up under the hoop, right? Now, when that makes that contact, I don't want to break it. I want to paddle it, right? Like, I don't want stopping momentum. I want to paddle it right into the next hand. So I'm here. I'm going to pull it there. Now, one of these hands, and sometimes like you'd like to think that they do the exact same thing every time, but they don't really, because we're living this, right? So there's different reaction in a different moment, right? So sometimes like it'll help me to think like, oh yeah, I need to flick that last hand, that far hand, I need to flick it. But then sometimes that's overkill, and sometimes what I'll notice is that the deeper or the closer that I pick it up from here, right, like where it's like right in front of my face. Sweet, Amber. Okay, I'm hoping that you'll fire away questions if you have them. I think we're gonna. Oh, I wanted to skip this one last time. Returning. Yeah. I'm sure it's a great song. It's a little too chill right now. Okay, so back to the hand walking thing. I'm here. Maybe if I gave you the. See if this bird's eye camera will help. I don't know if this is going to add anything, but we'll try it. Before, when I was talking about circuits for the swing thing, you can do smaller circuits, right? They don't have to be big movements, right? So you could try, like, I want to bring it, I just want to work just on this. I just want to work on going from fingers to the back of my hand, to the fingers to the back of the hand. Just that little motion. And maybe I can't work on it for more than like 1 or 2 tries. All right, it's all right. Okay. Where we're at. Okay, so I guess that's pretty good. I guess maybe we should just free hoop. I'm imagining that your arms are getting pretty tired. But you can fire away questions, if you do have any gas. We didn't make it an official class, but you can try learning hops. Actually, let me throw something in there about hops, right? Because I'll show you one hop that you can try, but probably you can get it, actually, because it's not that hard once you get it. Of course, I won't be able to do it now. But you can hop into the hand that you're in, or you can drum, which is like you see what my hands are doing? I can move my fingers underneath the hoop. Well, actually, I knew that if I suggested hopping there, I wouldn't be able to do it, but that's okay. Also developing balance to be moving those hands around. But if I want to hop to in bow, which is when most of the time is where I'm doing it, right? I can come here. This is a single point hop. I'm here. I'm just going to throw the hoop up and come back and grab it. Or not grab it, but just let it fall. That's a single point hop, right? Now this would be a 2-point hop, and sometimes you'll find that these might be easier for you. So get your hands nice and high if you want to try it, and then you're going to throw the hoop up a little bit, and then just catch it right there in point. Right? So my hands are nice and high, though. And I'm just catching it, right? So I switch hands. And you can't spin it. You can spin it. Hopefully I'll be able to. Alright, there we go. I'm sort of cheating, but. Ceiling fan. Okay. Okay, all right, well, we're just gonna move into some free hoop time, but I'm here if you have questions that you wanna ask. Thank you guys for joining me tonight, I really appreciate it. I don't think it does. You know, there's there are, I should say this, there are other two-point techniques, right? And so I just maybe should throw this in here really quick. Like I can create two-point by pushing the hoop into my shoulder. And this can be like a cool way to bridge your point. Like if I'm in bow, I can bring it back to the body or hit maybe even to my head or whatever. You know, I can tuck it into my neck if I wasn't wearing a head mic. But you can try these kind of, like, it looks kind of weird, but this is kind of like a sort of, well, I can't get it right now, but you can do a kind of gooey sort of contact two-point walk. I bet it is, Claire. I'm sorry. You can balance. You know, if you ever want to figure out, if you want the realization, you can actually, if you try to balance while seated, it's totally possible. But you'll really realize I'm so red and scared. I'm not really this red, y'all. But you can do it seated. You know, if you had a low ceiling. But you'll realize how much you use your legs the moment you try it. Okay guys, our next class will be Thursday, and it will be a help desk class. I've already gotten, from I'm a Zookeeper, I got some suggestions already. She wants to talk a little bit about duckouts, which I'm not that good at, so much to brush up on before. But we can talk a little bit about duckouts there, and she said cool angle things to do. So if you have a suggestion, you can make them in the comments tonight. You can make them in the comments on replay, and I'll. Or if you don't want it to be public, you can just send me a DM, and we'll see what things we can do. But this Thursday is the help desk. If you guys don't come up with suggestions, that's cool. We'll hit some things. So anyway, thank you guys so much. We'll maybe free hoop one more song and then call it a night. Oh, and I'm not sure what we'll be doing, but next Monday we will definitely have a Myth and Flow class. So, this Thursday, help desk. Next Monday, Myth and Flow. Sweet, Kelly. See you Thursday. Thank you. See you Thursday, Alex. Thank you. For sure, Dorothy. For sure. Oh, and Jackie, thank you. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. Alright, maybe I should keep going. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks. Nice. Oh, maybe we'll just finish this little song out. Thanks, everybody. See you Thursday. Thank you.